It's your man Jay Graves Report, and welcome to the College Football Weekly Wrap-Up, Week 9. Y'all know how we get it in, so let's get it in. Wrapping up the top 5 ball games of the weekend, so let's get right to it. Now, going into this weekend, I told you it was only two games that pitted top 25 opponents against each other, so I say the weekend was going to be dub. But what I didn't tell you was I picked all 5 games, bruh. All 5-0 this weekend, because I know what I'm talking about, Playboy. Let's go to the first ball game. We got Michigan going over to East Lansing to play the Little Brothers, number 8, Michigan State. Now, here's the deal. Michigan State beat the brakes off these boys, 35-11. I'm just saying, Brady Hope better go ahead and start packing up the crib, bro, because they got the for sale sign outdoors. But what trips me out is everybody at Michigan seems to be upset with Mike Hart, because Mike Hart said years ago that Michigan State was their little brothers. Now everybody upset. Hey, Mike Hart was telling the truth, bro. They still the little brothers. Michigan just dog right now. Michigan State has won 6 out of the last 7. That doesn't change the fact that Michigan State is still Michigan's little brother. Think about this. In the series, Michigan is 68, 34, and 5 against these brothers. They still little brothers. Right now, they just need to get rid of old Doug Brady Hope and keep moving. Now, Jeremy Langford went to work on these boys yesterday. Had 177 yards, 3 touchdowns. Went to work on them. But here's the deal. This is the only time since, this is the second time since 1898 that Michigan State been on a 6-game winning streak. So, what that tell you, bruh? That tell you they still the little brothers. You can't get away from that until you start looking up and you got more wins than Michigan. You still the little brothers. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, let's go down to Lexington. We got number 1, Mississippi State shows up to play the old Doug Kentucky Wildcats. Now, Mississippi State barely got out of this joint alive. Yet, don't let the score fool you. 45-31. I picked Mississippi State to win this ball game. However, these duns out here barely got out of there alive. If it wasn't for Kentucky just being dumb, they would have lost this ball game, bruh. Think about this. Patrick Toll from Kentucky went to work on these boys. He had 390 yards, 2 touchdowns. They put up 504 yards of total offense against Mississippi State. The only thing saved Mississippi State, it was the duns from Kentucky was Doug. How many times did we see boys dropping passes in the end zone wide open? How many times did we see balls banking off of boys' face masks? Then these duns from Kentucky try to set up and do an onside kick in the last minute of the game when they only down by a touchdown. These duns kicked the ball right to the cat, and he ran for a touchdown. Hey, Kentucky is Kentucky. I'm just going to say this. And then we can stop all this foolishness going forward. In 2 weeks, November 15th, mark your calendar. Mississippi State's got to go down to Tuscaloosa, and they're going to get their brakes beat off of them, and then we can stop talking about Mississippi State, bruh. I mean, it is what it is. They've had a great run, but if you barely getting out alive against Kentucky, and yeah, I know Kentucky was 5-2 going into this ball game, was better, but let's understand this. Kentucky is Kentucky. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, let's go out to the Pac-12. We got number 20, USC. Going out to Salt Lake City to play number 19, Utah. Now, here's the problem. We're going to send all the boys from USC to therapy this week, bruh. They get out here, they lose this ball game 24-21. Last 8 seconds of the ball game, Travis Wilson throws a 1-yard touchdown to beat these duns. Got to remember, 2 weeks ago, they got beat by old Doug Arizona State on a Hail Mary when a boy just standing there looking at it. That dun is washing cars right now in Crenshaw. Hey, USC gets out here losing close ball game. Everybody on the team need to go to therapy. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, we're going to go down to the SEC. We got number 4, Alabama, shows up to Rocky Top to play Tennessee. Now, Tennessee is a much improved ball club. Butch got these boys rolling. But I'm going to tell you this. They had to sneak old Doug Lane Kiffin in the stadium. You know, he ran out on Tennessee a few years ago, so everybody down there hate that Doug. They had to bring him in with Secret Service. That Doug standing in there with a SWAT uniform on and a helmet calling plays. Hey, I'm going to tell you this, dude. Hey, all you got to say is, they didn't go out there and do what they traditionally do, run the football on them all day. They unleashed Amari Cooper on these boys. 9 catches, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm going to tell you, that's the 8th straight win in this series for Alabama. They went to work. Right now, Alabama look like the best team in the country right now. I know that Mississippi State's number 1. I know that Florida State's number 2. But right now, if you put boys on the field, Alabama is rolling right now. So, hey, when it's all said and done, Alabama will be right there in the hunt. I'm just saying. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, we got number 3, Ole Miss, going down to Death Valley to play number 24, LSU. Now, I told you boys going into this ball game that Ole Miss was Ole Miss. That the glass slipper was going to fall off, turn into a pumpkin this weekend, and that's what it did. LSU wins this ball game 10-7. But here's the deal. This is the reason why they win the ball game. Because Mississippi is not accustomed to being the hunted. I wrote a hot joint this morning called The Hunted. You got to go check it out. And here's the deal. When you are a team that's accustomed to being the homecoming team, the duds that they pick for homecoming every weekend, you're not prepared to go into a hostile environment, be a 3-point favorite at Death Valley. Bo Wallace went in there and just fell apart. They had that done aggravated the whole game. If you watch the game, all he was doing was out there talking trash back and forth with the fans sitting behind the doggone bench. Then he talking trash and pushing boys, getting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. He was dull. At the end of the ball game, they told him, Hugh Freeze told him to go out there and get us enough yardage to kick a field goal to take it into overtime. That Doug tried to be the hero and throw the touchdown pass and didn't see the doggone safety come rolling over the top and got picked. They lost the ball game because they're not accustomed to being the hunted. It's your man Jay Graves Report from the JayGravesReport.com, and you can hit me up on Twitter at JayGravesReport so you can holler at your boy.